Okay, now we have an issue of rare genetics. Now, the difference between rare genetics, for the most part, and cerebral palsy is tone. Rare genetics, you have a low tone. In cerebral palsy, you have a high tone. And now there are many rare genetics that do have a high tone, but at the same time, they're pretty rare. Sense the name, but like Fox gene 1, Rett syndrome, and so forth, you will see a higher tone. But for the most part, if you have a low tone baby, now you're looking at genetics. A lot of people feel that if their child didn't have birth trauma, there's nothing wrong with them. Genetics are increasing, I think, to me, honestly, from what I'm seeing, faster than autism. But it's called, sometimes the parents have to be a carrier. You can have the dad as a carrier. You can have the mom as a carrier. Some need both parents, right? But also you have what's called de novo. De novo means that something spontaneously happened creatively in the womb, and now you have a condition, let's say like CDKL5. You don't necessarily need a carrier. It does happen on de novo. But I work with NCAGE and Wolf-Hirschhorn syndrome and all sorts of things, Pitt syndrome, that can happen with a child. Okay. Now, one of the things you'll see, and it's hard to catch during the birthing process, you'll see the birthing of the placenta and the child literally almost falls out of the mother. The succumbing to gravity is much more apparent in rare genetics. So it looks like the doctors almost dropped the baby because, again, the doctor's not expecting a genetic baby like Down syndrome or something, and that fall happens, right? So the placenta is still of the mother's DNA, but the baby is of its own DNA, and that DNA wants to succumb to gravity. Okay? Another way you can tell, you can sort of spin your baby around. I don't mean spin it, but like dancing and holding. A healthy baby clings to you when you do this, but a genetics baby wants to come down here. So like you hold your baby and it wants to slide down. Another, again, things to keep your eye on, or a warning sign that your baby can have genetics. But one of the things you'll see, again, you're not getting this boat coming off the floor. The gravity reflexes are not coming into play. You'll start to see, I can't even do it, more of a frog leg, right? But their frog legs want to go to the table. I can't do this, right? You'll see this with like an EDS baby, right? That they just have the legs that want to go down. I have femoral torsion. My hips just aren't doing that. But you'll see that. You'll also see a breath more like through the belly, right? That they're pushing air against gravity. Again, when I have to push like this, and you can do it, it's really hard to eliminate. Another thing is, too, again, the body in a sense is just heavier. And we're going to talk about this with adults. When the body is heavier than the fecal matter, gravity will go after the body, not after the fecal matter. So the whole thing about pooing is that, you have stuff going in, the jaw of you eating and so forth and doing these things, right? And that the jaw is regulating gravity, the weight of the item through the mouth. Its orifice is the anus. And again, you have the sacrum, and it wants to go down to eliminate. But when the whole body is succumbing to gravity, and you're doing all of this, it's really hard. Trach babies have a harder problem with eliminating because of that. This is where, again, you've got to get in there and start teaching them these movements of that coming with constipation, but for this spine to cross midline, to move the fecal matter. Another thing too, you have issues with momentum. The child's just, you literally, if you're waking the child to feed, you're literally going to have to wake them up to go to the bathroom, right? You just will, because they're just going to be like, just moving is so exhausting. Much less, like literally these children can take a bowel movement and go to sleep. It's just, I'm exhausted just from going to the bathroom. These are some things that you'll see, but you need to work on them and so forth, so they have that ability. They understand how matter is supposed to move within them and go do those things. Those are some of the concerns with a low-tone child. You'll find that you're using suppositories more, or maybe other things. Really, the first key to action for most pediatricians is Miralax with these kiddos. Not a big fan, but especially too if you have a G2 baby, and we'll get into that, where you can use a salt water rinse or something like that to help that flush to eliminate the matter and what's going on. But again, when I'm here nursing, look at where my head's doing. I'm starting to touch breast tissue, and I'm doing all of those kind of things to eliminate. And babies like this, they can eliminate this position, right? But a low tone child, right? You're literally like you're lifting the head for them to eat. You know, you're lifting the head for them to. And oh, by the way, too, if you've got a low tone child, way too big of a bottle. I see a lot of kiddos that literally have a collapsed jaw just because of the weight of the bottle, and that they're doing that. If you have an open mouth baby, really watch that. You want that ability for that draw, right? Not, I'm trying to suck, right? This is just getting milk falling into my mouth, and now somehow I've got to swallow. If I have a reflux baby, any of those kind of things that are going on, GERD, if I have too much matter in here, and guys, nobody's pulling an x-ray to look to see if your child, the doctors will ask you, and it's fine, do you have diapers? Well, of course you have diapers. You know, like the answer is going to be yes, but they don't understand, and they don't talk to you about there's an art form to going to the bathroom, and we'll get into that for the adults. But that's something you need to look at. By the way, I'll be putting all these videos into the constipation course so you can have them for your reference.